who is missing the live session is able to catch the replay on our YouTube channel. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel to be sure that you do not miss anything. This week, we will be at a homeschool convention in Greenville, South Carolina. We will be doing a couple of workshops there. One is on, different benefits of Montessori in the homeschool, and another is on the 5 mistakes to avoid when teaching math, helping to avoid those middle school math blues. It really is possible. So if you're in the Greenville area, I do hope that you will get to stop by. So circle time, is anyone in the group familiar with circle time? I, by the way, am Antoinette LaGrossa with Schiller Learning. For those of you who are new to Schiller Learning, we are part of the nonprofit Rising Stars Foundation. Our goal is to help you maximize your students' potential with homeschool help sessions like this. We are also working on something new. Can't give the details of that yet, but I am really excited about it. And it is another way that we're going to help you stay inspired and performing at your best all year long. So look for information on something new coming up in the next few weeks. And so we are supporting you with things like Tuesdays at 2, our homeschool blog. If you have not discovered the Schiller Learning homeschool blog, do check that out. Tons of free resources and printables, as well as math and language arts curriculum. It is scripted, super easy to use. Okay, excellent. So some folks have used circle time, and circle time, excellent, is something that you see in a Montessori school. It's something that Maria Montessori herself used in her children's house, and the Montessori-style circle time can certainly be used to kick off your homeschool day or used as a transition. The length of it can really vary depending on what you want to do with it and the interaction that you're getting with the kids in the activities that you are including in that. So the circle time can be a mixture of routine, tradition, music, movement, conversation, collaboration, review, and looking at what you can do to make learning both more effective as well as more enjoyable for your child. Because of course, we're looking to ignite and stoke that fire of that thirst for learning, so that the kids are ultimately, through the things that we're setting up and preparing for them, going to operate as if we aren't there. That's the ultimate success of an educator. Another great thing about circle time is that it really helps to make sure that your child is getting the benefit that you think they're getting from the things that you are doing with them. And the education of a child does not focus on preparing him for school, but really for life. And circle time is going to help you achieve that goal and making sure that all of that education is being made relevant to the child, that they are retaining that they're going to be able to build on it. There is something for everyone in circle time. So if you yourself are an introvert or extrovert, it's going to do these things for you, but also for your child. It's going to give that opportunity for the child who is an introvert to strengthen personal relationships, not just with the parents, but bringing those siblings together if you're homeschooling people outside of your own children. This is a wonderful thing to do. You can also incorporate circle time into your homeschool co-op. All of the things that, all of the benefits that it's going to give to your family, it is, it can give those to that co-op environment as well. For the extrovert, it's going to give them a stage, and they will have an opportunity to thrive with that attention in that social interaction. And when they are given the floor, they really like that opportunity to essentially give a speech. It's funny, my oldest is very much an extrovert and always enjoyed the opportunity to take the stage, whether it was just within the family or homeschool co-op. We did that and they gave speeches. But it's also going to be grounding for both students and educators in that it's going to help to keep you on track. Sometimes, and Catherine Donnelly wrote a beautiful blog piece about this. We can sometimes feel like the day gets away from us in homeschooling, and providing yourself with some anchor points can really help with that. And one of the most effective anchor points is circle time, whether that's going to be a morning circle that's a little longer, or a transition circle that you do maybe before lunchtime or as the kids are winding down and preparing for a nap. I also like to do a circle time at night, especially as the kids get older and have a lot of activities and start getting jobs and things of that nature. It's just nice to be able to, come back together and share in that way. It's also going to, provide that clear path for questions and discovery in that conversation. And it's another way for observation. So I know that I have mentioned observation a number of times, and that is another thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to your circle time, and that it's another opportunity for you to observe the child. Circle time is often conceived as a group of children coming and sitting around in a circle. That absolutely works. That is a great way of doing that, but it does not have to look like that. So just keep in mind that this is completely up to you and can be very flexible in how you want to implement it, where you're going to have it. It can certainly take place around the table. It's nice too if you want to incorporate the whole family into that, having your morning circle time be incorporated into the morning meal can work with getting everyone involved. Circle time for myself often looked like cuddling in blankets on the sofa and doing these different things that we're going to talk about. That for me was also a nice way of incorporating the reading into circle time. Okay, so one of the first things that circle time is going to do for you is to help solidify your routine. In the parent and student planners that we have as free downloads at schillerlearning.com, lots of great planning tips. But bottom line is that kids thrive on routine. They do not do well with chaos. And if you're finding that your homeschool day starts to get away from you and it's feeling a little chaotic, then circle time can help be one of those anchors. And working that into, again, personalizing it for your routine, whether you want that to be how you launch the day. Um, in doing that, okay, yeah. So it absolutely is going to be able to help with all ages, by the way. In a Montessori environment, they really focus in a Montessori school doing circle time with those 3 to 6 year olds. But do not feel like circle time is only for the really young kids. I still do circle time with my kids who are in their 20s. We don't call it that, um, but it's that same routine that we've been doing since they were very young. And it just helps to make sure that we are still coming together. And now, as they get older, they're going to be discussing a lot of different things. Okay, so going to help you solidify your routine. Another thing that it helps to incorporate into your routine on a regular basis is discussion of your traditions. So, it's a nice time to, if you're doing the morning circle, to start off with reading. If you are a family of faith, reading your religious text or something about that, having that discussion, talking about um, holidays that you observe that are approaching and the meaning of those and different ways that you're going to celebrate. Share with your child the reason that you do the celebrations that your family does and share with them the history of that. It's really going to help them to buy into that and have it have additional meaning. It also provides the opportunity for your child to provide ideas of how they would envision maybe a new celebration or changing something. It's a great way of getting that child's input. Circle time is not just about a one-way conversation, a speech that you're giving to the child. It's incorporating these things into a conversation so that you can observe. Uh, Another nice thing to include into circle time are songs. Circle time is a wonderful opportunity to include those things that are often considered a little more fun for the child. Now, in the Schiller Learning Math and Language Arts curriculum, we have over 100 songs. They are incorporated into the lessons, but they also make awesome additions to circle time. I've had the benefit of observing Schiller Learning curriculum being used in a Montessori school, and it's really neat to see specifically that music being used in circle time as well as the lessons. And that's going to tie into doing that movement as well. So it's going to, give the kids a fresh, energized start to the day. It's in addition to the songs, finger plays are a really popular thing with the younger kids. You don't have to always do songs that are accompanied with music. Even if you have a voice like I do and you may not want to sing in public, you leading the song with your family can be a lot of fun, and having the kids do that as well. Circle time is a time for collaboration. Again, having that conversation. And especially as your kids do get older and multiple ages, they're involved with their own friend groups. And as I mentioned, having more activities, it again is that nice opportunity to pull everyone together in that conversation. So some of the things that you are going to also that you can also do in that collaboration is the family read aloud. Circle time is a wonderful time to do that. It's a great way to start off. in the morning. But if you're going to use circle time as a transition into maybe the afternoon meal or afternoon nap time, that's a perfect time to incorporate the family read aloud. We have a blog post on the many benefits of that. One of the things that kids love are visual aids, and you can incorporate those into your family read aloud. Think about, whimsical and novelty things. We personally absolutely love puppets. We have a Shakespeare theater for our puppets. And it's fun to then, once you've done the family reading, for them to reenact what you have just read with the puppets. It is a multisensory, interactive, creative expression for the child, and you're able to see that the child has comprehension of what was just read, and um, that they are also developing their storytelling skills, their narrative skills, because without those storytelling skills, they are going to struggle when they start to actually putting paper to pencil and writing stories. So that oral narrative comes before those great written composition skills. This is a fun way of including that into your circle time. And that narrative, by the way, your child can do dictation and you can record their story before they're getting into writing. And then you can read it back to them. And that's another wonderful way of helping your child to hone those storytelling skills and give them the opportunity of, I'm going to fine tune that, change it in these ways. And then once they're actually writing, they are so much more comfortable with that, creating that essay, that narrative, that story, that report, than they would be if they hadn't done those narration skills in the beginning. Okay, so doing that family read about aloud, bringing in those puppets, also repurposing things that you already have. When you are going to be reading a story, if it's about a rabbit and a garden, you can let the kids know, okay, we're going to be reading about a rabbit that's doing some gardening, or a rabbit that is um, going into a garden and the farmer is going to have interactions with him. What can we find? What do we have? That you might have a stuffed rabbit, you might have some gardening gloves, and a sun hat that you wear out in the garden. And just, let them know what the topic's going to be, and then go on a scavenger hunt through the house, find props and visual aids that you can use as you read the story, so that not only do you have those puppets as an outlet, but you can ham it up, act those things out with things that you already have around the house. Always wonderful to stretch that homeschool budget and enhance things without always having to buy things specifically, you know, um, for that. And you probably have, between your wardrobe, your stuffed animals, and your kids' toys, something that you can do as a visual aid, something that you can add as a visual aid to pretty much anything that you are reading. It's going to help the kids to be more engaged in that as well. So the amount of time that you're doing circle time for a 3 and 9-year-old is really going to vary, as well as what you want to do. If you're going to be including the family read aloud in your morning circle time, 30 minutes is a really nice time that you can do, um, you know, uh, look at your traditions and do that type of reading and discussion. You can then talk about things in your collaboration. And this is something that in this collaboration, it's a wonderful time to let them know of, okay, what's going to be coming up for today. You know, maybe you have a special class that's outside of the house. As I mentioned, kids thrive on routine. They like predictability. When we spring things on them that were not expected. Now, some kids are more flexible than others, but they really do like to know what's coming up. It can help them just feel more secure. So talking about what's coming up, and then talking about, okay, so, and we're going to look at some tools for doing this also, reviewing information that they've already learned. So for example, one of the things that you can include in the circle time is that, okay, today is Tuesday, for example, with being Tuesdays at 2. Schiller Learning, we've got brand new, downloadable, very affordable product that is coming out. It is launching this week. Amanda, do you happen to, is this going to launch tomorrow?
We hope so.
Okay. I thought that it was coming up very soon. Okay, so it is going to be
We're
launching
working
this
on some final touches on it.
Okay, awesome. And I got to tell you, I absolutely love these. It is a wheel, so it comes in 2 parts, and you simply use one of those brads to secure the wheel to that background. And looking at what today is. And so this is a visual aid that you can talk about. Okay, today's Tuesday. These are the things we're going to be doing today. Tomorrow's Wednesday. What are we going to be doing then? Yesterday was Monday. What were the new things that you learned yesterday? What were your favorite things? This is a great way in that review of finding what your child really enjoys. And sometimes it's surprising. We do observe our kids, but they might enjoy something, and it could have been their favorite thing that they've done all month that you might have thought that they didn't really enjoy. So this conversation is going to help you to perfect and tweak your homeschool plan as the year goes on. So that collaboration is really important. An important part of that is that review. What was your favorite thing? And that's actually, my kids now are to the point where they laugh and chuckle at that question, because whenever we did a field trip or an activity or whatever in the car, I ask everyone, what was your favorite part? And you can do that in homeschooling as well. So what's the favorite activity? What's the favorite topic? What did you like best about that? Is there anything about that you would like to do differently in the future? Your child may come up with a fabulous idea that's going to greatly improve what you are doing. So the collaboration that can happen in circle time is wonderful. So you've got that collaboration in the discussion of what they have done. For children ages 5 and under, help little ones sit down at least part of the time. I I understand that goal, but I have to say that sometimes, especially if you have a really kinesthetic kid, and this may come from just personal experience. I was a really kinesthetic kid, and when I was in first grade, I was not homeschooled, but when I was in first grade, I actually used to get my the teacher would tape my mouth shut. My arms were taped down to my sides, and then my legs, like I was taped into the seat because I just liked to move around. And you may notice that I talk with my hands. So it's something that I'm still doing, is that movement. And having a child sit doesn't necessarily mean that they are paying attention. So for a kid who likes to move, them moving around while they're listening to you, for some kids actually helps them to pay better attention. So maybe, that might be something, um, as long as they are still being responsive to questions, adding to what that discussion is, participating in the activities, whether it's, singing that song, dancing during the music is absolutely wonderful. So I would say, as long as they are paying attention and they're able to respond to the activities, I wouldn't worry about them sitting. Now, picking fights during circle time, maybe with the power struggles, the more we give our kids age appropriate decisions and opportunities to make choices for themselves and to be leaders. Circle time is a great time for mentoring as well between the different kids. So you may find that if you give the kids maybe the opportunity to lead, so have one child lead that tradition time, one child lead that song time, and assign each of them a job that may help with that. And circle time during a snack or mealtime, that too can get kids to sit because they're eating. But I also had one who, even when he ate, he really liked to walk around and move. He was not still even during snack time necessarily. Truly a grazer, eating on the move. But yeah, so maybe try assigning them a role and having rotating roles of what they lead may also help, because sometimes if a child has a role that they do over and over again, they can get territorial about that and get really upset if someone else goes ahead and is leading the discussion, and feel like, wait a second, that's my job. And one of the things you could use for rotating those roles are the schedule cards. I know I reference those schedule cards a lot, but they just, I love the flexibility that the schedule cards give within that prepared environment, that list of goals we want to achieve. But with the cards, the kids can make decisions. And so with that same concept with 3x5 cards, you could put the different elements that you would like to include in your family circle time. And maybe you have different elements for different parts of the day. So if you have kids who are still napping, maybe you want the family read aloud time to be done in the afternoon after the meal, to help prep the kids for nap time, and helping them to quiet. But so you can have that structure of, okay, these are the things we want to do at this time, and then have a rotating, okay, Dane, you get to pick the card first of what you want to lead today, and then John gets to pick the first card the next day, or something like that, to help rotate that. Okay, so circle time posters are absolutely something. It's another visual aid. You can create these yourself in a Word document or a PowerPoint, but it's going to be another low-cost visual aid that you can use for reviewing information that the child has already learned. I don't know. Is anyone here familiar with Richard Scarry? When it's funny because a lot of the things that I did with my older kids who are now in their 20s, we just continue doing the same for the youngers. Okay, we have a Richard Scarry fan here. So, you've got colors. So let's say that your child has learned orange. You could use the circle time poster to have a discussion about orange, things that are orange, and then have um, a day where, okay, today we're going to have an orange scavenger hunt and we're going to spot things in our environment. And as we go out on errands and just all day long spotting things that are orange, and there's, it could be just left at that, or it could be a competition where whoever finds the most orange things gets a ribbon, a prize, or something. But one of my, oh, you no longer have the books. Yeah, so we love both the Richard Scarry books as well as the show. So you watched an episode just the other day. Do you have it on DVD, or are they actually playing somewhere? Are uh, because we have VHS of a lot of those, and we did not convert them all before they had deteriorated. So please, if you know of a service where you can get to the Richard Scarry, if you can drop that into the chat, I would love that. But one of my favorite activities that Richard Scarry did was the counting day. And that is something that you can also do in your circle time, is review numbers that the child has learned. Oh, okay, awesome. I'm going to have to search because periodically I have searched the streaming services for that, as well as Madeline. That was another thing that we had absolutely loved. There's nothing sweeter than watching a little boy singing the song from Madeline. But yeah, so back to the counting day. So you can say, okay, one of the numbers that we learned recently was 5. So in Montessori, by the way, new concept, new definitions, new items are learned in small groups. It's mastered, and then you add a few more to that. And so that's another good way of doing numbers. And something that I love that is different in the way that Montessori teaches math is that as soon as the child is good with the units, like what you see on the screen here, with numbers 1 through 9, that they are then introduced to place value into the thousands with the materials. But they're practicing those quantities of 1 through 9, but just doing that now with tens, the physical rods, the 100 flats, and the 1,000 cubes. So without ever seeing those numbers and just learning to name them while practicing those quantities 1 through 9, they are getting that, first off, that number sense that a lot of kids who struggle with math are lacking. The physical materials are really providing and solidifying that number sense that will stay with them forever, well beyond the time that they're no longer using the materials, and that understanding of place value. So good stuff. But the counting day, so you could say, okay, this was 5. You could talk about, is this an even or odd number? What's a shape that has 5 sides? So there's a lot. You can use the circle posters as that launching board for conversation and imagination. Coming up with new ways of relating life to that number, but also doing that counting day, where maybe you are finding groups of 5 throughout the day, or do a counting day, of up through 9. And okay, I found this group of 1, I found this group of 2, and so on up to the number that that child has learned. So that's a Richard Scarry inspired activity that I have to say all 5 of my kids enjoyed doing that. Okay, one other thing to include in circle time. This is generally a good thing to include in your morning circle time, not if you're doing circle time in the afternoon as a transition to nap time, and not if you're doing circle time in the evening as a transition to bed. Because movement is going to be energizing. So this is a nice break from seat work. It helps to, expend that energy for those little movers. And as more and more of our kids spend less time outside, that's a whole nother issue. Montessori really stresses that importance of the child's connection with nature, recognizes what's developmentally appropriate, and the importance of a child's movement. Um, but this could be some simple things like jumping jacks. It could be a game like Simon Says, some of those traditional childhood games. It's a great time to introduce those to the child through circle time. You can do some, basic calisthenics, do some light weightlifting with just hand weights or ankle weights. Really important for the child, for, it has affect that social emotional development as well as their health. Really important, um, for so many reasons for that health also. So you want to be sure that you include that movement for the kids. In the homeschool parent planner, we actually do have some, oh, Misty, thank you so much. You have no idea how happy you just made me. And I will be binging that. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so we have the Roku, we've got the Fire Stick, we've got Netflix. Um, oh, major development in my life, little complete aside, discontinued Amazon Prime. So that is one streaming service we no longer have. This is new, it's just a couple of weeks old. And I'm really excited about that, but it's, yes, definitely different. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. In that parent planner, it has some basic yoga things. Yoga is another one of those things, stretching, some controlled movement, holding that. That is a very simple exercise that you can do with the kids. That's also great for circle time. And it's going to be great for everyone, not just them. Okay, so remember, music, posters, movement, getting in those whimsical uh, um, visual aids, those props for your story time, doing a scavenger hunt for those. Don't feel like you have to do all of that planning and finding yourself. Incorporate that into your circle time so that you say, okay, tomorrow we're going to start a story about XYZ scavenger hunt. Let's go find things that we can use to act this out. So that can actually be part of your circle time. Posters, using those colorful things as a launching point for that conversation. And you will find that if you incorporate circle time into your homeschooling, it's going to help you have your best day ever, because it's going to make sure that you have that routine, that review, that fine tuning of your homeschool plan, as well as all of those elements that sometimes as life gets busy, we can sometimes let those things fall to the wayside. Circle time just helps to ground everyone, bring everyone back together, and make sure that we're staying, with the goals that we have set for our family. Did anyone have any questions that we did not get to in the presentation? And yes, so science experiments, absolutely. Science experiments can be worked into your circle time because that is something that is nice to work into the circle time. Science is one of those things that you can do multiple ages together. So art, music, science, social studies, those tended uh, to be the things that we would do all together. Now, with multiple ages, certainly not every student is going to be able to participate in the experiment to the same level. So, for example, my daughter, she's doing some chemistry work, and so she's working with acids and things that are melting metal. Uh, she's doing the critical thinking questions at a higher level. She's doing the actual work with it, and then my younger child is, viewing what's happening, being part of that conversation. And so, absolutely, you can work science experiments into that, as well as art activities. And, maybe once a week, you can say, okay, we're going to work this in, let the kids choose when they want to work it in, or you can definitely decide that for yourself. But circle time is a great time to do science experiments, especially things that require parental supervision and are going to be beneficial to multiple ages. Okay, and songs on days of the week. I'm going to say yes. Amanda, can you just double check that when I say yes, that I'm correct? Okay. So do you have the Math Kit 1 or Math Kit 2 audio CD? And you sing the days of the week to the Addams Family theme. I absolutely love that.
We do.
Chelsea,
Song 22 is the calendar months, and song 23 is days of the week, and that's in Math Kit 1. They're
okay.
in book 3.
I thought there was both. I absolutely love the Math Kit 1, the Songs Volume 1 audio CD. There's 25 math songs. They're corny, they're catchy. Kids love them. And those, by the way, everything's available individually. You can buy the physical CD or the downloads of the songs if you just want to stream that music. Let's see. There we go. If you, for a certificate of attendance, if you are doing continuing education credits, email sales@schillerlearning.com and request that. Okay, and then I would love to hear about circle time in your house and how you're implementing it, the benefits that you're seeing, and the funny things that come up in conversation.